Hi guys, in this video I want to show you how we can use the image trace tool to grab simple images off the internet, and for images that are a bit too complex for image trace to handle, how you can then incorporate them into your designs. So firstly, when I'm getting students to research and find images that they want to use as inspiration, what's really important is how you search. So generally students will type in what they're looking for. So here I'm looking for a Tasmanian devil, and you'll see your first results will be, when you go to Google Images, will be images, photographs, generally the main thing that we're looking for. Now the problem is, very few of these images are actually useful. So most of them are at funny angles that are hard to draw, and being a photograph, they're very highly detailed. So if I was to try and use an image, I'd be looking for something like this, where I have a nice front-on view that I could then turn into some simple shapes, for example for the face, the nose, some ears, that I could then draw over the top of. If you wanted to see what other people have done using Adobe Illustrator or similar programs, add in the word vector. So vector graphics are what we work in Adobe Illustrator, and you'll find nice simple flat designs such as a silhouette or ones with only a few colors, and these are the kind of drawings we're looking for as we're building up our skills in Adobe Illustrator. So here this would be done in Illustrator, but you can see there's highlights and shadows, and it makes it a bit more of a complex image. So here I've just gone and grabbed some images. So here's that photo. Here's some sketches. So I can imagine this would have been the person's original sketch, did the head, then moved on to the body. Here's a similar one. Here's that one we showed before, or similar one to one we showed before. And here's one that I've actually found before and redrawn and had it as a group of objects. And I'll just explain how that works. But firstly, image trace. So up in Object, Image Trace, we're going to do Make and Expand. So if you select your image, what you may find is it doesn't always work. So if we go Image Trace, Make and Expand, quite often it just does this silhouette. When it's got a nice contrast line like this, it can work. And I'll just do this third one as well, just to see what it does. And so what it's doing is it's actually scanning the image, trying to find common shapes to then turn into a shape. So it's made it, expanded it into a fill and a stroke. So as we zoom in, we can actually see these fills and strokes, and it's tried to make, like you can see, it's made the circles a circle, but it's made that pen stroke an actual, rather than a stroke, it's a shape that has its own fill color. And what it's then done is it's grouped everything together. So if we ungroup, what we'll see is we can actually drag, so click away, we can actually drag the outline, and that's negative space. We can drag these things, and you can see what you're left with. You're actually left with all these shapes, and this one, the way it's done it, and it does it a little bit differently every time, is these are actually have a fill color, and you can see it's filled in that shape and left negative space everywhere else. So if you want to try and keep things together, you'll have to hold down Shift, select the objects that you want, and go Control G to group them, so that when you take them, they come along. Let's ungroup that. I selected the wrong thing. Does that work? Oh, if you had some more time, you could try and really grab that black one, but I'll move on. So this one here, it just turned into a big black blob. So we'll ungroup, that doesn't really work very well. And same with here, it's not too bad, but you'll see things like detail around the nose and the ears and even the letters that are here. It's not too great. So you can see, because it's a low resolution, quite pixelated, that's where it didn't really work that well. Sorry, there we are. So you can see it's kind of gone back. So I'm just going to undo those. So I don't always do it. I get students to have a go and see what happens. But if you find like a really nice simple silhouette thing, they usually work quite well. But when you start having multiple colors, like this would work quite well because it's just got simple outlines. But when you have multiple colors next to each other with not as much contrast, it really doesn't work. So what I recommend students do is find images and figure out how they can create and layer up shapes to make their drawing. So imagine this, you can see all these shapes. If I ungroup it, what we'll do is we'll start by drawing, I started by drawing the face, that outline, and then these grey ones, these grey shapes on top, similar, just tracing over and matching that. But it doesn't have to match perfectly because you're gonna hide that and make that your own. Similarly with the face, that's the same shape, just 3 times shrunk down, and you shrink it down each time. The eyes, I did one set of eyes and mirrored it across. Same with the ears. The ears are actually tucked behind, so they're actually behind the head. Same with the hair, and so all we're seeing are them popping out. So if we go back over here, you could see how we could draw the face and draw the ears and tuck them behind. And like in one of my last videos, it doesn't matter what the bottom edge of these look like. It doesn't matter that they're all kind of all over the place, because when they're behind the head, it's hidden detail that's unnecessary. So here's another one that I would assign to students as just a practice, as a good little way of getting into it. And what I would do to draw this is imagine at least the torso, the belly, and the arm as 3 separate layers. And the reason these two look the same is you actually end up just colouring them the same colour, and so while they'd be separate objects, they would actually be sitting on top of each other. And then the head sits on top of that, and you've got all these other things either in front of or behind. And so here's one I did earlier, just trying it on. So there's the hand, and there's the belly, and so I'd start by, I'll delete the hand, I'd start by making all of these no fill and giving them an outline color, just so you can see them, how they're going. And so the hand, what I do is I draw a circle, move over the top. Let's zoom in a bit. Draw the circle, move it over the top, stretch it up, and then just use the pen tool to click, do a bit of a curve, click and drag. And I'm going to use the Pathfinder tool to unite these shapes. I'm going to close that off. So I'm going to select this shape, the arm and the fist, and use the Pathfinder tools that may pop up. So let's just click away. I'll select those two and unite, and all of a sudden that's one shape. And if I go I for eyedropper, which is this tool over here, I can actually select that grey, and it makes that a grey color. So this one I'll do the same, color that in. Actually, let's do the belly first. I for eyedropper. The background, I'll sample the hand as well, and all of a sudden here's where we're at with the little belly. And so this head, I go I and sample the face. But I'd start by drawing the entire object using outlines, and then go and color it in either with the eyedropper, or you can actually go and pick the colors you want. Whoop, let's have the fill color like that. Okay? So some things just some points of order just to raise would be, what I did was this background I actually put on a bottom layer and locked it so that I can't accidentally move it, and I'm just drawing objects. So if you're ever tracing anything, just put what you're tracing on a background layer and move it and lock it, because otherwise if you're tracing you really don't want to have to figure out how to line it back up perfectly if you accidentally move it. So having it there and locked means you can't do that. Okay, so hopefully you've learnt something from this one, and thanks for watching.